So this is basically kind of like a part two to my last video. I figured I'd just talk about the whole day and split it into three different parts. Part one being when I got the weed, which was my first time buying weed. Part two, which is this, which is getting the pipe, which is my first time buying a pipe. And part three will be about when we finally smoked the weed and got high, which is one of my best, if not the best experiences I've had while high. And also another crazy thing is that it's been 3 years since this day happened, and no words can describe it other than nostalgic. It's fucking crazy. It's really nostalgic because thinking about how much has changed within the past 3 years is just something about it. It's nostalgic. That's all I could say. It's been 3 years. This day happened on 4/19/2013, and it's been 3 years now, and it's just fucking nostalgic. It's insane. So, anyways, on with the story. So, we bought the weed off these two thugs from the hood and we planned to smoke it at this park. So, we were walking into the direction of the park, which was a pretty far walk, and it was worth it because it was in a much nicer area than where we were at. And as we're walking, me and my friend was like, fuck, we need a pipe. So, after the realization of us not having a pipe, we had to get a pipe. Now, we still had a bit of money on us. We had about 30 bucks in total. In the beginning of the day, both me and my friend had 20 each, so we had 40 in total. But we spent $10 on the weed, and it was my $10 that I spent on the weed. And now we needed a pipe, and we only planned to at least spend $10 on the pipe also. And I also planned to be the one who bought the pipe too. And my friend was just going to use his money to cover food and shit. He was just going to buy food. But finding a way to get the pipe was the problem. We already had a hard time getting the weed because there was barely anyone selling weed, so we were like, fuck, where the fuck are we gonna get a pipe? And my friend suggested that we go to some place fucking far away to this one girl's house because she might have a pipe for sale. And I also knew who this girl was, and she was the type of girl to just use you for your weed. So I imagine if we did go over to her house and she found out we had weed, she'd probably want to smoke with us. Or she usually had other people over at her house and she'd be hanging out with other people. So if there were other people at her house and they found out we had weed, they'd all probably want to smoke it with us too. And it would just be too many heads. And what if she wasn't even home at all? And that would suck because she lived pretty fucking far. So basically, if we did go all the way out there, we were just gonna show up unexpected and ask if she had a pipe for sale. And if she didn't, then fuck, that would fucking suck because she lived near the other middle school, and that would just probably be a long ass pointless walk over there to her house. So after my friend brought it up, I told him why we shouldn't do that, and he was just like, yeah, fuck that shit. So me and my friend ditched that idea. So as we're walking, there's a smoke shop, and we go by the smoke shop. We don't go in it, and we're just passing by, and then my friend sees this guy sitting down in front of the smoke shop. He's sitting on his butt. He doesn't have a chair or nothing. He's just sitting there, and he's just chilling there. And the guy had a white beard, a hat on, and baggy homeless-looking clothing. The guy was basically homeless, unfortunately. So then it turns out my friend knows this guy, and they start talking and having a conversation. And it turns out this guy was a veteran and he fought in Vietnam, and unfortunately he became homeless. Then I met the guy and I talked to him, and he was a pretty fucking cool dude. And it also turns out this guy used to date my friend's mom in high school, and my friend told me that afterwards. So I guess that's how my friend knew him somehow. So anyways, let's call this guy Phil. So after the conversation, we just go away and walk around the smoke shop and just continue our walk to the park. And we still didn't have a pipe. But then my friend quickly said, hold up, I got an idea. And at that moment, we were in the back of the smoke shop. We didn't walk too far away from it. So then my friend says, let's go back. And we go back in front of the smoke shop, and my friend calls over Phil. And all three of us start walking to the back of the smoke shop, basically behind the smoke shop. And once we're in the back, my friend asked Phil if he could buy us a pipe and also a lighter because we didn't have one. And Phil was basically like, yeah, sure. So Phil asked if we wanted anything specific, and we told him no. So I give Phil 10 bucks and I told him to buy whichever he could get. So then Phil told us to wait behind the smoke shop. So Phil goes into the smoke shop and we're just waiting outside, and we didn't tell him to get anything specific looking. We just told him any pipe was fine. I didn't care if he got some glass pipe or a wooden pipe or a big or small pipe. As long as we had something to smoke out of, it was perfectly fine. And we also told him he could keep the change, which was probably $3 or $2, nothing special, because he probably had to spend more than $5, and our budget was $10 on the pipe. And we just wanted a pipe to smoke out of, nothing crazy. So we're waiting outside, And finally we see Phil coming, and so Phil comes towards us and he pulls the stuff out of his jacket and he gives it to us quickly, and we just shake his hand and we tell him thank you so much for helping us out, and he's like no problem. And then we just continue our way getting to the park, and he just went on with whatever he was doing. So yeah, thankfully he was around to help us out, otherwise we wouldn't have had anything to smoke out of. And I didn't know about Apple pipes or making pipes at the time, so we probably wouldn't have been able to smoke if it wasn't for him. And I still see Phil around. I've seen him a couple times. He's just around doing his own thing, and whenever I see him I always greet him with, hey, what's up, Phil? And he just says what's up back. But yeah, I still see Phil around, and there's been a couple times where I just see him hanging outside the Little Caesars down my street, and he's just sitting on the curb, and sometimes he's with other people sitting on the curb and they're just chilling there doing their own thing. So yeah, that's just in case anybody was wondering about Phil. Anyways, that's how I got a pipe, and it was my first time getting a pipe, even though I only got to use it once, and I will tell how that came to be the next video. And the next video will be about the final installment of what happened on this day when we finally got high, and I will tell it all in the next video, so stay tuned. Peace.